remember, I mean, typically real estate is, your bank accounts are reflective of what you did 90 days ago. So you start throwing a bunch of travel in there. You're, coming out of the holidays, coming out statistically, seasonality, it's kind of a compound effect of everything. And it's like, okay, got it. And we just want to be mindful of that. Moving forward, we want to be thinking about that as part of our SWOT analysis, third quarter going into fourth quarter. We really want to be thinking about that. So that's one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is, okay, what do we need to do now to generate revenue? I would say every little thing you can do, up transaction fees, re-hit vendor relations if there's money laying on the table. But then making sure that you and the team are back on the daily activities that matter the most. Even if you say, well, I need to have X number of conversations because I know that'll result. And you start looking at time delays, then it's like, okay, well, we need to start factoring that into the equation as well. When our cash conversion cycle of a deal that, we get contracted, it's going to close in 28 days. Now it's extended out to, 38. That doesn't seem like much, but it's a big deal. That's 10 days. And, we're always trying to get it to close quicker, move it the other direction instead of letting it extend out. So yeah, we just have to focus around those activities because that's what's within your control. And then it's just being really aware as we move into the future that we don't learn this lesson again. Cool. Is that helpful? Kind of get our mind right, what we need to do?
Yeah, I'm trying to not stay in the gap and just, focus on the gain. Definitely working on that. It's just, then we get something under contract and then we look at the contract like, oh, great. 70 days out. Okay.
Well, that's where your wins have got to be built around the small daily victories. That's where you build the wins to maintain that confidence. So it's like, hey man, I need to have 5 conversations a day. And you just do everything you can to get those 5 conversations a day. And you're like, okay, today's a victory. I won today. And then you go and you win again tomorrow. And you win again tomorrow. And you start building that confidence. And if you're doing those things, you're having conversations, that's how you win. Remember, 70% of your working time has to be on lead gen, lead conversion, pitching your offer to somebody that is your ideal client and negotiating deals. If you're not spending 70% of your working time, you're not doing enough. And you're like, well, shit, I'm not negotiating deals. I'm not meeting with people. Then great. If we're going to work 50 hours this week, 70% is 35 hours. That means we get 35 hours to lead gen and prospect and have conversations. Promise you, if you spent 35 hours over the next 7 days having those conversations, you're going to have a shit ton of appointments. Then you just start with, okay, who's the closest to making the cash register ring? You start there. That's why for sale by owners, expireds, off markets, past clients, relationships, nurture buckets, right? So it's like you just start looking. It's like, okay, I want to be smart with my time, and I want to have the 5 conversations that are going to make the cash register ring the fastest. I don't want to overthink it, but what bucket would they fall in, and how do I attack them first? But you got to know what your conversation number is.
Since Mr. Foster is having so much success implementing Alex's system, can Michael kind of share what he's doing and how that's working out for him?
Would love to have that. He's hiding out. If we get him to chime in here. Yeah, I would love for him to share. That would be fantastic.
And then is that recording available?
Which one?
When Alex presented at the kitchen table?
He didn't. I don't know if that's available, but if you go to, have you gone through the offmarketlistings.com training? I think it's the same exact thing. Michael can verify it if he gets free here and jumps back in with us. But I think it's the exact same thing. I think it's the exact same training.
I'm sorry, John, I stepped away. Would you ask me?
I'll let Renee ask.
I said, Michael, since you seem to be having such great success implementing Alex's program system, what is it that exactly that you're doing that's turning over those off markets for you?
I'm focusing on specific neighborhoods, not just like I did send out to every buyer in my follow-up boss, and I did send it to all of our sphere of influence too, but I focused on a couple of our specific neighborhoods through our Vulcan 7. And Alex suggested you do 18 to 24 months, which I thought was crazy when he said it. But I did do that, and that's where one of them came from.
Mm.
And when you said send, what are you sending?
I'm sending the letter that he gave us, a standard letter with their names on it. And then I'm following it up with a text. Did you get my letter? And the one of them went through.
Awesome.
Love it.
Michael, are you getting
Cool.
more responses on that letter or on the text follow-up?
Well, it's hard to say. It's probably both, right? Because if the text, well, yeah, they're responding back through text, not through email. To answer your question, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. Sam, Renee, is that good? Get some good direction where we need to kind of dial in over the next week.
Yeah, we're personally we're planning on pulling out Alex's info next week and see what we can do about it. So yeah, I haven't implemented that from the KT, but that's on the list for next week.
Love it. Awesome. All right. So Amanda, the challenge with sellers that we always want to make sure, and this was super, super important. And we got this through all the negotiation trainings and stuff that we went through, and then, Chris Voss's book and everything. But when you look at the negotiation, especially around real estate and well, with anything, you really want to hammer home what is the goal. And so what we've always, been adamant about the process is, you set the appointment, you qualify the appointment. And, you've gone through that, what their goals are, what their main objectives are, what their true motivations are, what their wants, needs are, and, what they're willing to part with that you can package in your negotiation arsenal kind of moving forward. And once you have that, and I would highly recommend, and I can maybe find it, but what we added to our, one of our seller information sheets was the negotiation stuff. So we would write down what their true goal was when we first met with them, what they were hoping to achieve, what that was. And then every time, because it never fails, right? They always want to go off the reservation. And what we would always do is like, okay, so let's pause for a second. It sounds like the goal has changed. Has the goal changed? And they're going to be like, no, the goal hasn't changed. And you're going to be like, well, let's revisit the goal. And then you pull it up. And you're like, okay, so when we met, here was the goal. Boom, 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 boom. So it sounds like the goal has changed. Tell me what's changed. And your job is always bringing them back to what the true motivation was, because it never fails, right? We know this. It never fails. And especially when it comes to money, it changes their behavior all the way around. And so we just have to make sure we're not skipping that step, that we're really making sure that
if you
writing it
have that,
down.
Do you have that you could send it to me? Because I don't do that.
Yep. So seller info sheet with negotiation. And it really just when you're when you're really having the first conversation face to face with them and you're just asking those questions. Hey, what's the goal? Hey, what what are you looking to accomplish? Why are you making the goal? Why are you making the move? Why are you putting the home on the market? Where are you wanting to go? What are you trying to accomplish? What's most important to you? If you know, what's like, hey,
Right.
this would be nice to have. You just drill down with them, but you have to write it all down because they have amnesia. I mean, they'll have amnesia the second you walk out the door. And especially when they see offers coming in and they start seeing dollars, it changes their whole behavior. And you are the guide. And you have to say, well, hold on. Has our destination changed? Because I'm doing my job and you told me that you trusted me and you believe that I could help you do what you're trying to do. I'm just trying to get you to here. But if we're not on the same page and I'm trying to get you to here and you're wanting to go over here, I need to know that so we can make those adjustments. So has the goal changed? And they'll be like, no, they're going to be whatever, but then you're going to have to make them remember, well, hey, when we met the very first time, this is what you told me. This was the most important. This was the true destination. So can we agree that the goal has changed? And then, you know, wherever they say, and you're like, okay, so now we've got to get a new plan because the goal's changed.
Right.
And, you know, when I thought we were going to the beach, now we're going up into the mountains. We got to change our, we got to change the things we're taking with us. We got to change how we're going to get there. And I can't do my job as the guide, and I can't proactively manage the variables within this process if I don't know where you're wanting to go.